Pretend perfect. The Nova Industries Gala transformed the Metropolitan Museum Sculpture Garden into a futuristic wonderland. Holographic displays showcased quantum technology innovations, while New York's elite circulated in designer formal wear. Kira felt like an imposter in more ways than one. The midnight blue gown, provided by Darren's assistant, fit perfectly, making her feel simultaneously beautiful and purchased. When Darren appeared beside her, impeccable in his tuxedo, her rehearsed smile faltered at the unexpected flutter in her stomach. "Remember we met at the Tech Innovation Summit?" he murmured, his hand lightly touching the small of her back. "You were photographing the event." "I know the story," Kira whispered back. "Relax, I won't embarrass you." Something shifted in Darren's expression. "That's not my concern." Before she could question him, they were approached by an older man with calculating eyes and a forced smile. "Darren, finally bringing someone to these things," he boomed. "Victor Raines, board chairman, and you must be the mysterious girlfriend we've heard nothing about." Kira extended her hand, channeling confidence she didn't feel. "Kira Bennett, not so mysterious, just private." As the evening progressed, Kira found herself surprisingly convincing as Darren's partner. She learned to interpret his subtle cues, completing his thoughts when he grew uncomfortable with small talk, creating buffers between him and overly aggressive investors. For his part, Darren revealed unexpected depths. When questioned about his latest project, he directed credit to Kira's artistic perspective that had supposedly influenced his design approach. The gentle way he kept her wine glass filled, how he actually listened when she spoke, it felt almost real. Across the room, Lyria observed in her human disguise, now employed as a server for the event to continue her research. The supposed pretense between Kira and Darren fascinated her. Their performance appeared more genuine than many actual human couples she'd studied. Disaster struck when Kira, stepping away to the restroom, bumped into a server, Lyria, whose tray clattered to the floor. In the confusion, Kira noticed something extraordinary. The server's skin briefly shifted to purple where champagne had splashed her arm. "Your skin!" Kira gasped quietly. Lyria's eyes widened in alarm. "Please, I mean no harm." Before Kira could respond, Darren appeared beside them. "Everything all right?" Kira made a split-second decision. "Fine, just a little spill. Give us a moment." When Darren reluctantly departed, Kira pulled Lyria into an alcove. "You're not human." "I am a researcher," Lyria admitted, her camouflage stabilizing, "studying human relationships." "Like an anthropologist?" "Precisely." Lyria assessed Kira carefully. "Your arrangement with Darren Voss is particularly fascinating." Kira glanced toward Darren, who watched them with concern. "I won't expose you, but in return, you tell me what you observe about him. He's difficult to read." Lyria considered. "An exchange of information. Acceptable." Returning to Darren's side, Kira slipped her hand in his with newfound curiosity. His fingers tightened around hers reflexively, and for a moment, their charade felt dangerously close to truth. "Everything okay?" he asked, his usual detachment softened by what appeared to be genuine concern. "Perfect," Kira replied, meaning it more than she should have. "Absolutely perfect." Crossing boundaries. "He watches you when you're not looking," Lyria observed 3 days later, sitting across from Kira in a quiet cafe. After their encounter at the gala, the alien researcher had become an unexpected confidant. His pupil dilation and micro-expressions indicate attraction he actively suppresses. Kira stirred her coffee absently. What had begun as a one-night arrangement had evolved when Darren unexpectedly asked her to attend 2 additional events. Her bank account appreciated it, but her emotional boundaries were becoming dangerously blurred. "That's just how he is, analytical, contained." "No," Lyria corrected. "I've studied many humans. This is different. He's protecting something, or someone. That evening, Kira accompanied Darren to a technology awards ceremony. Their practiced routine had developed a comfortable rhythm, his hand at her waist, her smile warming his introduction, the subtle ways they anticipated each other's needs. "You're getting too good at this," Darren commented as they shared a quiet moment on the balcony, Manhattan glittering below them. "Good at pretending?" Kira asked, studying his profile in the moonlight. "Good at making me forget we're pretending." The admission hung between them, dangerous in its honesty. Kira's heart raced as Darren's gaze dropped to her lips, the careful distance he maintained suddenly evaporating. When he kissed her, it felt inevitable, like gravity finally claiming objects that had been falling toward each other all along. His controlled facade cracked as his hands cradled her face with unexpected gentleness. "This isn't part of our arrangement," she whispered when they finally parted. Darren's eyes held vulnerability she'd never seen before. "No, it's not." Later that night, in his penthouse with the city spread beneath them, pretense fell away entirely. Every touch, every whispered word between them became real. His hands learning the curve of her waist, her lips discovering the places that made him forget his carefully constructed control. "I never expected you," he confessed against her skin, his usual precision replaced by reverent exploration. As moonlight painted their entangled forms, Kira realized she had stopped acting long ago. Whatever this was between them had transcended their business arrangement, becoming something neither had anticipated, something fragile, frightening, and possibly genuine.
Cosmic revelation. "He's hiding something," Lyria stated, her human disguise perfect except for the faint purple undertone visible only to Kira's now trained eye. They sat in Darren's vast living room while he took a business call in his office. His quantum technology, it's not entirely of Earth origin. Kira stared at her alien friend. "What are you saying?" 10 years ago, a research vessel from my galaxy crashed in the Mojave Desert. Certain components were never recovered. Lyria's expression grew serious. Darren's quantum breakthroughs mirror Andromeda Alliance technology too precisely for coincidence. Before Kira could process this revelation, Darren returned, his expression uncharacteristically tense. "We need to leave. Now." "What's happening?" Kira asked, rising. "Someone breached company security. They're after the quantum core designs." He grabbed a secure tablet, then froze upon seeing Lyria. "Who is this?" "She's—" Kira began. The penthouse windows shattered as armed figures in tactical gear repelled into the room. "Surrender the extraterrestrial technology, Voss," the leader commanded. In the chaos that followed, Lyria's human disguise dissolved completely, her purple skin and slightly elongated features fully revealed. With extraordinary speed, she disarmed 2 attackers, creating an escape path. "You're—" Darren stared in shock. "Yes," Lyria confirmed, "and your quantum core is based on my people's technology. Explanations later. We must go." As they escaped through service corridors, Darren finally confessed everything to Kira. How he'd discovered fragments of alien technology while hiking, how he'd spent years reverse engineering it, developing applications that wouldn't raise suspicions about its origin. "I never stole it. It was abandoned, damaged. I wanted to understand it, to help humanity advance." "But you never told anyone," Kira replied, hurt in her voice. "You built your entire life on secrets." Darren's eyes held hers, all pretense gone. "Yes, just like you agreed to pretend to be something you weren't. We're not so different." The truth hung between them. Both had been hiding, both pretending, both afraid of vulnerability. But now, with their lives in danger, and an actual alien guiding their escape, Facades seemed pointless. "I stopped pretending weeks ago," Kira admitted quietly. Darren's hand found hers in the darkness. "So did I." Stars aligned. Dawn broke over the small coastal research facility where Darren had hidden his original alien technology samples. Lyria moved around the laboratory with growing excitement, examining the integrated systems. "You've done remarkable work," she admitted, "adapting our technology without proper understanding of its principles." Darren watched her with newfound wonder. "Will your people come for you now? For this?" Lyria smiled. "They already know. My mission was to assess human readiness for contact." She glanced meaningfully between Darren and Kira. "Your relationship has been my most valuable data point." "Our fake relationship, you mean?" Kira clarified. "Was it ever truly fake? You created a performance that became reality. Very human, finding truth through fiction." Corporate security teams had been neutralized with unexpected help from Nova Industries, whose chairman recognized the value of protecting Darren's innovations once he understood what was at stake. By midday, the immediate danger had passed, leaving them to face more personal revelations. In the facility's observation deck overlooking the Pacific, Darren found Kira watching the horizon. "I've been paid for 15 days of pretending to be your girlfriend. What happens now that there's nothing left to pretend?" Darren stood beside her, close but not touching. "I built my life avoiding real connection. It seemed safer, more efficient. Then you arrived with your art and your questions and your refusal to be intimidated by me." "And now," Kira asked, finally meeting his gaze, "now I find I don't want to go back to that efficiency. I don't want to pretend anymore, Kira. Not with you." As their lips met, Lyria observed from a distance, recording her final observations before her scheduled departure. Her conclusion was unexpected but certain. Humans were indeed ready for greater cosmic connection. They practiced it every day in their most intimate relationships, bridging differences, overcoming fears, finding unity while preserving individuality. 2 weeks later, Kira moved her paintings into Darren's penthouse. That evening, they stood on the rooftop garden he had created specifically for her art studio, watching a particular star that seemed to pulse with unusual brightness. "Lyria says they'll make official contact within 5 years. She thinks we helped convince them." Darren's arms tightened around her. "By demonstrating that even emotionally stunted tech billionaires can learn to connect." Kira laughed. "By showing that different worlds can come together and create something beautiful." Above them, Lyria's ship began its journey home, carrying stories of human resilience and connection, and of 2 people who began with deception but discovered something genuine across the vast distances between pretense and truth. In her final transmission, Lyria noted, "Humans create pair bonds that transcend logic, biology, and circumstance. Perhaps there is something we might learn from them after all."
Desperate deal. Kira Bennett stared at the final notice in her hand, the bold red letters blurring as tears threatened to form. Eviction in 48 hours. 3 years in New York pursuing her art career, and this was where it had led her. Broke, with a stack of rejection letters, and now homeless. She crumpled the notice and tossed it across her tiny studio apartment. The space that had once felt full of possibility now resembled a prison cell. Canvases stacked against walls, paintbrushes soaking in murky water, dreams dissolving like watercolors in rain. "There has to be something," she muttered, scrolling through job listings on her phone. Her part-time gallery assistant position barely covered groceries, let alone Manhattan rent. That's when the email arrived from her roommate Jade. Emergency cash opportunity. Modeling job. One night only, $10,000. Interested? Kira's fingers froze over the screen. $10,000? That would cover 6 months of rent. It had to be a scam, or worse. What kind of modeling? She typed back cautiously. Jade's response came immediately. Not that kind. Need someone to play girlfriend for rich tech guy at Nova Industries Gala tomorrow. No funny business, just arm candy. He's socially awkward, but harmless. Across the city, in a gleaming penthouse office overlooking Central Park, Darren Voss pinched the bridge of his nose as his assistant continued explaining the predicament. The Nova board is traditional, Sarah said, organizing papers on his immaculate desk. They want stability before finalizing the merger. Someone who lives and breathes code doesn't exactly scream well-adjusted human with healthy relationships. Darren's expression remained impassive, though his jaw tightened slightly. At 34, he had built quantum-verse technologies into a billion-dollar empire, revolutionizing quantum computing applications. But social interaction? That remained an unsolvable equation. "So you want me to lie?" he stated flatly. Sarah sighed. "I want you to present a more rounded image, just for one night." "With a stranger pretending to be my girlfriend." His tone made clear how absurd he found the concept. "My roommate's friend is perfect. She's artistic, can hold a conversation, and desperately needs the money." She placed a photo on his desk. "Just meet her. If you don't approve, we'll find another solution." Darren glanced at the photograph, a woman with auburn hair and intelligent green eyes, painting at an easel. Something in her focused expression caught his attention. She looked determined, like someone who understood dedication to craft. "Fine," he conceded. "One meeting." Elsewhere in Manhattan, in a modest hotel room, a woman who appeared human carefully adjusted her appearance in the mirror. To casual observers, she looked like any other professional in her early 30s, attractive but not attention-grabbing, with smooth olive skin and dark hair. Only in certain light could one detect the faint purple undertone to her complexion, quickly dismissed as a trick of the eye. Observation Day 47. She recorded quietly into a device resembling a stylish bracelet. Continuing study of human pair bonding rituals and economic exchanges. Fascinating intersection of emotional and financial transactions in this society. Lyria, xenoanthropologist from the Andromeda Alliance, had spent nearly 2 Earth months studying human structures. Her mission? Determine if humans were ready for first contact. So far, her findings were contradictory. Humans showed remarkable capacity for connection alongside baffling emotional suppression. The coffee shop Jade had chosen for the meeting was neutral territory, busy enough for safety, quiet enough for conversation. Kira arrived early, nervously adjusting her only professional outfit, a black blazer over a simple dress. She recognized Darren Voss immediately from tech magazines. Tall, with dark hair cut precisely, features that might have been handsome if not for their complete lack of warmth. He moved with the mechanical efficiency of someone who viewed the physical world as an inconvenience. At a corner table, Lyria sipped her latte, recording observations through specialized contact lenses. The cafe provided excellent opportunities to study human interaction patterns, especially now, as she noticed an interesting tension between the woman in the blazer and the approaching man whose technology had captured the Alliance's attention. "Kira Bennett?" Darren's voice was deeper than Kira expected, with a clipped precision that matched his appearance. She stood, extending her hand. "Mr. Voss." "Darren," he corrected, his handshake firm but brief, minimizing contact. "Shall we sit?" The conversation that followed was unlike any job interview Kira had experienced. Darren outlined requirements with algorithmic precision: attendance at tomorrow's gala, presentation as his girlfriend of 3 months, knowledge of basic information about quantum-verse technologies, appropriate formal attire. "You'll need to appear comfortable with me, though physical contact will be minimal. Hand-holding occasionally, perhaps a brief touch on the arm or back for appearances." Kira raised her eyebrow. You make it sound like a military operation. Something flickered across Darren's face, surprise perhaps at her directness. I prefer clarity in all transactions. Is that what this is? A transaction? Isn't that why you're here? You need money, I need a convincing partner for one evening. Your roommate mentioned you're facing eviction. Kira's cheeks flushed. That wasn't information I wanted shared. For the first time, Darren looked slightly uncomfortable. I apologize. I require context for situations. From her corner table, Lyria observed with fascination. The conversation contained complex layers of power dynamics, economic necessity, and what humans called chemistry, a scientifically imprecise term for electrochemical compatibility that nonetheless seemed applicable to the energy between these two subjects. Let me be clear about what I'm agreeing to, Kira said finally. One night, playing your girlfriend, nothing inappropriate, $10,000. Darren nodded. With a contract ensuring confidentiality. My assistant will provide a dress and accessories. I'll need half the payment up front, Kira countered, surprising herself with her boldness. His lips twitched, almost a smile. Acceptable. As they finalized details, Kira couldn't shake the feeling that she was making a deal with a particularly handsome robot. Darren Voss might be brilliant and wealthy, but something essential seemed missing, as though he'd traded emotional capacity for intellectual prowess. Lyria made note of this curious arrangement in her records. Humans often create artificial pair bonds for social advantage, fascinating behavior for supposedly emotional creatures. These two subjects would provide excellent case studies in her ongoing research. What none of them realized was how thoroughly this arrangement would transform all three of their lives, human and alien alike, before the next full moon rose over Manhattan.